preach what you want to practice. So you don't have to be an expert in order to teach people things. And in fact, I would say, which is kind of controversial, you don't even have to have done the thing that you want to teach people. And that's controversial because people are like, okay, how can you teach something that you haven't done? But part of the learning process is if you know something and you try to teach it, you will then learn more about it, which we'll talk later in the video. But right now, just know that there's definitely value in the little things that you know so far. So don't be afraid to preach what you know and to preach what you want to practice. Like if you know it's going to be good for you, then don't be afraid to say it. So instead of positioning yourself as an expert, position yourself right now as a student, as a learner, as somebody who is learning this process and it's just sharing and documenting their experience or sharing the little things, little bits here and there that they do know. Because think about it, how do people become experts? At what point does a person become an expert? Like, is it when they're learning the thing? Is it when they start talking about the thing that they just learned? Is it when other people recognize their work? When does a person become an expert? Where does the expert start? They start as a beginner. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. Most of the experts that you probably know had like this similar journey where in the beginning they were completely inadequate about what they're teaching right now. So, like in the case of social skills, most social skills YouTubers, they were probably lonely in high school. I can raise my hand to that. They were awkward as teenagers. I can raise my hand to that. And there, you know why this is the pattern is because we had to learn, and we have to keep learning specific things that make the expert the expert. We learn it through our personal experiences, through trial and error, and through failure. Like a lot of failure, a lot of moments that we would take back, but we have to live with them. But we can learn things from those kinds of moments. If it helps you to understand it, think of it like this: who would you rather buy a money course from? Like, you want to make more money. Who would you rather buy it from? A guy who was born rich, or a guy who had to work from the bottom, who had nothing? Well, you would probably take the course from the guy who had to work for it, who had no money. When we get the sense that somebody had to work for what they have, we think, no, we know that they have to understand certain things in order to get where they are. And if we're trying to learn from them, we want to learn those specific tiny things that they now understand. And you don't get that from somebody who just was born with it, who was just born confident, born socially adept, born rich. Like, it's not wrong to be these things, but it's kind of hard to take advice from people who were given the easy hand, because we just get the feeling that they don't actually know what it's like, and they don't know the specific things that will actually help us. So as you preach what you want to practice, you remember that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be a perfect example yourself. In fact, some of the greatest learning lessons you can give to people are your mistakes, are your failures. And that just shows, first of all, humility on your part, but also it shows that you are trying, and it helps the other people to understand what we have to try to avoid. Other people relate to a struggle, and the ups and downs are just a part of the journey. And honestly, this is one of the best ways to learn, to preach what you want to practice. It's very good for learning because you have to understand like little specific details and things, and you have to somehow put that into words as you preach what you want to practice. Yeah, and by the way, when I say preach what you want to practice, I don't mean that you aren't actually practicing it. Like, you could be practicing it a little bit. And if it means anything to you, the simplest way to put this is, the more you say it out loud, the more you understand it yourself, and the more you can then apply it yourself. So that's why I think you should that's why I think you should practice what you want to preach, because none of us are perfect, and there are many things we all want to do. But if we keep telling ourselves and trying to teach what we are trying to apply in our own lives, that'll help us understand better, make faster progress, and it could help somebody else on the journey. So that's it for this video, and thank you for watching.